Hello everyone, my name is Muir and this is Starsector version 0.95.1a-rc6, and this is the Laser Champion Monitor fleet for Fleet Command. So let's look at the champions first because they are the real killers in this type of fleet. What we have here is one high intensity laser, two ion beams, and 4 point defense lasers with a Squall MLRS system. We have expanded missile racks, hardened shields, and integrated targeting unit built in, as well as advanced optics, stabilized shields, and a flux distributor as our hull mods. We have our vents at 35, that is with the extra 5 we get from a skill, and then capacitors we just dump whatever we have left into there. We're not going to have point defense anywhere else. You don't need it, but yeah, that is the build. You can swap this out with a tachyon lens if you want. The main thing about that is the game tends to work better if you are using some sort of sustained damage versus burst damage. When the enemy shields go down, if you're doing sustained damage, you will just immediately start doing a lot of damage to them, whereas they might bring their shields down just right after you fire your tachyon lance, at which point you won't be able to do any damage to them. You'll just put a lot of soft flux on them. So sustained damage tends to work a little bit better. But the main crux of this build is the monitors, which is a ship that is slept on quite a bit by many people. The main thing here is the monitor has a fortress shield, which means that this thing, if it decides to be, is more or less invincible. You could do 1 damage to it, or 1 quadrillion damage to it. And if that fortress shield is up, it takes 0. So, it has the flux shunt, which allows it to dissipate 50% of its hard flux at 50% of the normal rate while its shields are up. This is outrageously powerful. And then we built in extended shields, hardened shields, and stabilized shields. What this does is basically makes keeping its shields up free, in essence. Well, nearly free. The extended shields makes it a complete encasement, and the hardened shields means that when it is not using its fortress shield, it can the damage that it takes to its capacitors, to its flux is going to be reduced. So yeah. So then we have a flux distributor and accelerated shields because we want to pull those shields up as soon as possible. The entire ship is essentially intended for shields. So what do we have here? We have 2 flat cannons, and then just so it actually goes and fights things to a degree, we have 2 tactical lasers here, so it can actually shoot something. But its main strength here, and so also what we have is maxed out on vents, and we don't have any extra capacitors in here. This ship's entire job is just to lock something down. That's it. Just to keep its attention. And I just want to show you something real quick. With this ship, as we have it, you notice how our fortress shield is going, but our flux generation is just sitting at 1? What this means is that this ship can stay in fortress shield mode forever. That's broken. That is extremely powerful. That means you cannot kill this ship. The enemy can't even hurt it. As long as its flux stays low, EMP won't do anything. It'll just stop at the shield. So, if you want to, let's say you're fighting a Radiant or something like that. Well, just so you understand, we can just fly up to this Radiant and say, "Sup, bruh?" And we'll wait till him to start firing, then we'll turn on our fortress shield. And yeah, we're taking a little bit of hard flux. But what he's doing right now would have probably... But I mean, we're also going down in our flux sometimes. So he's starting to have some of an impact, but imagine the rest of your fleet is now attacking this guy, pounding on him. Any other frigate would be dead by now. Almost any other frigate would be dead. So we have to understand, this ship is outrageously powerful at locking down enemy ships. Now, mix that with this, which is good at dealing a bunch of damage, putting hard flux on things, shooting down missiles that are coming towards it, and then also just disabling enemy ships, and you have a recipe for disaster for the enemy. So, let's just throw it at something, and let you guys see how it works. So, how we've set it up is we can now just hit Alt and go in. These guys are much faster than these, so they will make their way up. We're not going to worry about any of these because the officers that we have make it so that we get to the maximum deployment points for our fleet, and we're just going to go find the enemy. And then once we find the enemy, we can start fighting them. Now, the important thing here is that the champions are the ships that kill things. The monitors are there just to keep things busy. So we need to find out where the enemy is going to go. We have an enemy up here, another one over there, and there is a brilliant, that's what it is, a radiant, whatever the big capital is, I forget the name of. That is what really we're going to be aiming for. Now, I just want to demonstrate this real quick. As its flux gets up, it's going to start getting EMP'd, and then it will just essentially get disabled. Looks like the majority of the enemy fleet is over there, so we're going to have everyone sort of come back real quick. Because we know where the enemy fleet is now, and I'm actually going to have the monitors go up here instead. Because we want the monitors to engage first. Okay, we can see most of the enemy fleet, which is fantastic. So we're going to have you harass him, you harass him, and just so forth. These monitors are effectively just going to keep all of the enemy really busy the entire time, while the champions do their job. So we want the monitors to move in first, and then we want the champions to kill somebody, to start killing people. So what we're going to see is his engines are probably going to get turned off relatively quickly, and after that he won't be able to run away or do anything, so he'll just kind of die, and that will be that. The same thing is going to happen with the other enemy ships. But he can't do anything, this guy's going to get killed, is going to die, and it's about time we tried to see what we can do about some of these enemy ships. We will eventually want to mob the Radiant, but and it looks like he's off on his own, which is fantastic. Get him. So, what's going to happen with the Radiant, I'll just explain this real quick, is his shields are going to get high, he's going to get a lot of hard flux on him. Then EMP is going to start getting through. Once the EMP starts to get through, it'll start disabling everything on his ship, which means that we will just eventually kill him. Once his shields start to go down, he will fall apart very quickly. Well, as we can sort of see here, not really defending himself too well, but that's the power of those high-intensity lasers. At this point, the fight's over. The champions are very powerful, the monitors are locking down pretty much everything, and anything smaller than... all these smaller ships are just going to... yeah, the smaller ships are just going to get EMP'd, and then their engines turn off, and then they die. That's about it. That's kind of just how this works out. We can sort of see this up. Oh no, we lost a monitor! Oh well. That's literally what they're there for. The monitor soaks more damage than... than most other ships. But as you can see, we're just currently plowing through the enemy and slaughtering them. Down here we have two champions squaring up with this brilliant, and well, as you can see, he's getting EMP'd quite a bit. His engines are off, so he's kind of just dead. And there he goes. So we have everything that's left. We might as well just throw this on full assault, because why not? Now the thing is, the monitors aren't particularly dangerous, but they can still do a little bit of damage. Ship recovery, we lost one monitor. You can add a brilliant to this, a radiant to this, if you really want to. It is an incredibly dangerous ship. But for our purposes in demonstrating this, we're not going to worry about that too much. Now, we don't worry about any of that, it doesn't matter. But let's go and see how well it works against the end-game threat, which is here. So we're going to jump over there, we're going to say repair, and then we're going to go into the coronal hypershunt. Okay, let's do this. Now there's something else that we're going to do here. Remember, these monitors are effectively immortal so long as they have their shields up. So we're going to have them jump on that guy, and them jump on that guy. We're then going to have our champions target one of them. What's going to happen, I hope, is that this guy will get so busy trying to kill these four monitors that he'll basically just wander off over here as he's fighting them, and these guys will just focus him down. That's what I'm hoping will happen, as the monitors are practically invincible. The champions are not. As you can see, this is already sort of happening there, and he is getting EMP to all hell. As you can see, he's kind of dead in the water right now, which means all of his damage is coming in. Now, if we lose a monitor, it's not a particularly big deal. As you can see, his hard flux is getting up there. He's starting to, well, die. So that's really useful. And like that, down he goes. Now, these guys can all go keep them busy. These champions are going to kill him first, because he's the biggest threat. Alright, they took down a monitor, that is fine. We have more where that came from. And we just want him to die. Now, he is going to run into a lot of problems, because he's going to get EMP'd a lot. And he won't be able to do anything after he gets EMP'd enough. Like, right now, I think all of his weapons are disabled. Can't even fight back. But he's going to die very soon. And after that, it will be you guys kill him. Now, we can effectively just ignore this one while we kill off these. Once they're all reduced to just being fighters, our life becomes exceptionally easy. Now, the AI could just have these guys stay in Fortress Shield forever, but the AI doesn't like to do that. So, you know, you will lose monitors. But you'll also basically just kill everything else. It's not a big deal. Alright, so they are slowly trying to make their way down. They're taking care of all the fighters as well. Not a massive deal. And they are just going after him. Now, we could go kill this guy now, if we wanted to, but it's kind of a little bit better just to pick off everything as you go, because he is exceptionally dangerous. It looks like he's not playing along, so we're just going to have the champions go murk this guy real quick. So the missiles are coming in. He will eventually get EMP'd quite a bit. And yeah, that's probably going to be the end of him very shortly. Especially as all the EMP comes in and disables everything he's got. So, yeah, that's it. The AI really doesn't have a response to this. Again, we have this bigger shard up here that we want to kill first. It is the most dangerous thing now. And it will get EMP'd. When it does this, it doesn't have shields at that point. I don't know what that does. But it also means that, well, it doesn't have a defense to the EMP, so I assume that it starts to have some pretty major problems with stuff getting disabled. But as its hard flux starts to get a little bit higher, you can see that it's starting to get EMP'd quite a bit. I think most of its weapons are, yeah, all of its weapons are currently down. So it may have the best weapons in the game, but it can't use them. Which means it can't do anything. So that one's dead now. And oh no, we lost another monitor. That's okay. They served their purpose. Just kill this one. Down that goes. Kill that one next. Oh no! And really, this is going to be extremely predictable. His hard flux is very high, so that means his engines are going to eventually get just shut off. And once that happens, he dies. And then now he's dead. If they actually keep shooting him. But the high-intensity lasers are incredibly powerful if they can just start hitting armor and hull. They do 1,000 damage to armor per second, which essentially means they will slaughter everything very quickly. Okay, so we have lost all of our monitors. That is okay. They served their purpose. It gets EMP'd, and now at this point what you want to do is just, because we're only fighting fighters... Oh, we can send another one. Because we are just dealing with fighters at the moment, we're going to just tell them all to defend this one point. What that's going to do is have them all stick around and just slowly pick everything up. Now these ships, these little fighters, are also subject to EMP just like everything else, so they will also now eventually die off. They will suffer the exact same fates that the other ships did. And yeah, there's one more. And that's it. Oh no, we lost all the monitors. But there we go. That is the in-game threats. Extremely easy with this build. The only ships we took losses on were the monitors, which we kind of are just throwing away anyway. They exist to be destroyed. You don't want to be you don't want to be on a monitor. But there we go. That is the build. It is incredibly possible, incredibly powerful. Most of the time, if you're using this correctly, the only ships you should be losing are the monitors, because again, you're having a monitor go and step up and go toe to toe with a like a radiant. So, and the monitor does it no problem. Just can't kill it. So what does this look like in terms of fuel range? So we are at Ascania. We can go everywhere we want with just having 2 Prometheuses fueling us. So not having a bunch of capitals actually really helps. The Starliners, you shouldn't be losing a lot of ships, but when you lose a monitor, you're down maybe 15 crew. It's not a huge deal. Most of your crew are going to be on this, which shouldn't be in combat, and the champions themselves. You can carry a ton of stuff with the atlases, and these are not enhanced yet. So you could go and throw additional berthing on this to get an extra... what is it? Additional berthing is... Yeah, we can still put it on, right? Where is it? I know it's going to need a dock. But yeah, so it would increase it by 100 or 30%. Yeah, it would increase it by more than 100. Same thing with the Atlases, same thing with the Prometheus. So, incredibly powerful build. Let's look at the officers. So these are the skills I recommend for this. You want helmsmanship, go ahead and make that elite. Field modulation, target analysis, system expertise, missile specialization, and gunnery implants. The gunnery implants increases the range of your lasers, which is incredibly important. This makes your missiles fire faster and do more shield damage, which is also just amazing. All these things are more or less required. Well, they're not really required, but you could get away with. But these things are all going to directly benefit this type of build. The other thing is, when we look at our character, so what are we building into? Well, if you want a Radiant or Brilliant or some other type of automated ship, you can use that here. There isn't a whole lot of reason to fly one of these yourself. As you can see, we are Quizzicles. I was going to make it about testing, but, you know, I don't think YouTube would like that. We have tactical drills, coordinated maneuvers, wolfpack tactics, crew training. This is really useful for our monitors. Doesn't really do anything for our champions, though. So you could reallocate that to one of these if you want to add some sort of fighter support. Or if you want to use Tempests instead of monitors, though I will warn you the Tempest won't last that long. So we use this as well. We want both of these and then both of these as well. This one lets us add that third permanent hold mod, and then this one makes the monitors much more powerful. These two, well, you know what those do. This one gives us a little bit of an ECM rating beyond the enemy ships. This is the big one that's going to allow you to put extra capacitors on things. Over here, this one's actually extremely important. Allows you to have 2 extra elite skills on your officers, which makes your champions just even more dangerous. Now, if you decide you don't want to use this, you can just go to one of these and do that no problem. If you want to fly a ship, I recommend just jumping into one of your officers' ships and using that instead. But if I were to choose between these two, because these are kind of useless for you if you're just a command admiral, not a combat, not a field admiral, I suppose, then you'll be wanting to probably choose this one, just to get a little bit of extra range. But yeah, there we go. That's pretty much the entire thing. You are very powerful. You can take down AI ships left and right. You can take down the in-game threat, no problem. Not a whole lot is going to threaten you here. The ability, when you stack expanded missile racks and the officer ability for missile specialization, we're taking this, which normally has 160 missiles, and we are turning it into 480. That really means this ship is going to be extremely hard-pressed to run out of missiles before the end of any engagement. So one question becomes, how effective is this against, say, a really powerful Remnant Nexus? How good is it in a siege? Well, let's find out as we sort of lure all these guys away from their Nexus. And let's go and find out. So let's move to engage. And once again, how we've set this up allows us to just deploy everyone. Yeah, we might as well just deploy all the monitors then. So we can just full assault, and what I suspect is going to happen is that the station is going to try and kill the monitors, and the champions will slowly kill the station. Again, with how these stations work, once the central portion gets overloaded on these remnant nexi, that's this one here. This is what does the shield. Once that gets overloaded, these are all completely vulnerable. As you can see, even they're using high-intensity lasers. So, yeah, what's going to happen is the monitors don't really do a whole lot of damage, but they are very good at soaking a lot of damage. The champions are good at killing stuff. It's kind of what we want them to do. As you can see, he's soaking everything this is just throwing at him, and no problem whatsoever. And we're seeing the missiles start to come in. We can see his hard flux getting really high. So he's overloaded. The same thing's going to happen with this guy. This will probably be where they suffer the most losses. This side. Now, with that overloaded, a lot of the missiles are coming in, a lot of the EMP is hitting, and there will likely be some destroyed stuff on this side. We're already seeing them focus on... Yeah, this side's going to have a lot of losses too. It might get through a few more rotations, but it's not going to live very long. So, every shot at the monitor is a wasted shot at the station. And it likes shooting at the monitors. It's great. Once these arms get destroyed, you can shoot under the shield and destroy stuff. But we're already seeing a lot of stuff that's just EMP'd as well over here. So, yeah, being able to shut down the enemy and prevent them from even fighting back is outrageously powerful. And there we go. So yes, this can take out a station with, I think, no losses. Yeah, no losses. Just completely powerful and kind of ridiculous. But as I said, the monitors are outrageously powerful and criminally misemphasized, I suppose. They are underutilized in a lot of builds. They are fantastic escort ships. They are able to shoot down fighters, missiles. They're not really good at it, but they can definitely lock down enemy ships. As you saw with the redacted ships in the first engagement we looked at, we just assigned a monitor to just full assault a single redacted ship. Doesn't matter if it's a Brilliant or if it's one of their smaller frigates. If it's a Radiant or a Brilliant or just a small fighter, a frigate, it can go in there, keep them super busy, and allow the champions to do their jobs. But again, alright, there we go, and let me know what you think about this. This fleet is, as I said, pretty powerful. It doesn't really matter how many demods the monitors get. They should be perfectly fine. If you get demods on your champions, though, try to get rid of those demods as soon as you can. So one of the other questions becomes, what about doing a derelict operations build of this? Well, you could do that if you really wanted to. So you can spam out even more champions. The only problem with that is, if you want to use derelict operations, your best bet is to have no officers, use derelict operations with this one, because then you can reduce the deployment cost by 20% or 10 points, and a champion costs about 25 points to throw out there. So you would first reduce its cost by 30% here, then you would decrease that what's left, so it costs what, 25? Yeah, 25. So you'd reduce 25 by 30%, which, because I'm amazing at math, reduces it down to 17.5. You're then reducing that by another 20% to 14. So you could do that and just pump these guys out. Yeah, you're getting them out there for around half cost. Each one of these costs 6, so maybe you'll get a little bit lower. But let's see. If we do a little bit of information here, that divided by 25, it's around 56% cost to send something out. 56-ish% cost. The problem that you will run into doing that is that if we were to take that 56% and just sort of multiply things out, we can say 25 plus 6, right? Oh, right. Yeah, it should be 6. 25 plus 6 is going to be 31 per. We have about 10 or so. How many do we have? 1, 2, 5, 10, 12. So we multiply that by 12 instead. And we see that that would be around, without any reductions, it would be around 372. With all the reductions, let's see, that would be multiplied by 56%. That'd be around 208. So you could spam out almost everything if you're using direct operations with no officers whatsoever. I haven't tried that. You can do it, and if you do, let me know in the comments below how well it works for you. But this is more than sufficient, and you have some reserves. So if you want to spam out everything, you can do that. I would probably recommend getting rid of one of the Starliners and maybe one of the Atlases, so you can add a little bit extra. So you can get, maybe another 2 of these out there, then have your entire fleet go out there and fight all at once. But yeah, I mean, it can work just fine. Everything would basically be super jacked up, so you might suffer some pretty major inefficiencies. If you wanted to get rid of one of the Prometheuses, you could do that. It would reduce your range by quite a bit, but you as a player could maybe fly around in an Afflictor and damage buff things, or damage debuff enemy ships that you want your ships to focus on. It can work out incredibly well. It can be incredibly powerful. You can also add something like a Radiant to your fleet, which you just build to be super burst damagey, and it goes in there and just murks something as the champions keep the enemy ships busy. That can be really powerful. Basically build these around support, as right now they do kind of slowly grind stuff to dust, but it is what it is. Alright guys, let me know what you think about this in the comments below, and I will catch you guys next time. Go ahead and leave me a like, comment, subscribe, ring that bell, and just share the video with whoever you think would like it, and I will see you guys later. Bye everyone.